I want to break any limiting beliefs today that to go from this to this, you need to absolutely starve yourself all the way down to the floor. It needs to be absolutely miserable and you will suffer your way through it. In context, I've been able to do this for over 70 people now where we've got them the six-pack they desired. And I'll get straight to it. The formula we use at the Gorilla Platoon is we like to keep food as high as possible for as long as possible, and specifically keep carbs as high as possible for as long as humanely possible. People think carbs are the enemy, and people think they need to go to 1800 calories to get this lean this quick. You don't. This is the art of body recomposition. If you just need to lose weight as fast as possible, do whatever the fuck you want. But this is not what we're here to do, and it wasn't really what your goal was. The method behind the Gorilla Platoon is to get everyone looking aesthetic, to have a nice looking physique that they are proud of, as you can see in this transformation here. We actually still lost 17 kilos even with this method. I think I want to say this was a 20-week result. But you can see from his training definitely didn't suffer, because you can argue all day whether he built muscle in a cut or not, and I'll leave that up to you. But the physique before and after showcases what we needed to for what he actually came here for. So, how do you take this approach? Let's get straight to it. You are going to start off your dieting phase just below maintenance. You're not going to go really low, really early. You're going to find your maintenance, which there are many calorie calculators online, and just simply find one, set your maintenance target. From there, come just below it, at 200 calories, just below your maintenance. You're going to set your protein to 1 gram per pound of body weight, or roughly 2.4 times your lean mass. You're going to set fats to 20% of the total target, and then you're going to fill the rest with carbohydrates. Now, if I'm saying keep carbs high, keep food high, something has to give somewhere else. Now, inside the Gorilla Platoon, I like my members to be athletes. I want you to be fit, strong, and lean. I don't just want you to be fucking hungry. So we prefer to push cardio first, get you moving more. This will start with 20 minutes of cardio daily, heart rate 120 to 130, and then you'll slowly crank that number up as the scale weight is not dropping. In the beginning, you'll find it drops. 10,000 steps a day, plus 20 minutes of cardio per day, or 140 per week. Get that in how you see fit. And then food, in a good position, is still a slight deficit, right? Still technically less than what you would need to maintain. So you should still be dropping off that. But because we keep your carbs high, what does that allow you to do? It allows gym floor performance to be as high as humanly possible. And that is mission critical. Gorilla Platoon members send me their clips over. I watch and review them. I make sure they're lifting correctly. Slow tempo. 3, 2, 1, pause. Drive back up. Pause at the top. Full range of motion. At the max capacity that's available at the joint and the muscle. Training the correct arm path. If you train your lats, you're thinking elbow into your hip pocket. If you're training your pecs, you're thinking bicep across to your pec. We're thinking correct arm path. We're not thinking move loads from A to B. We're thinking stretch and shorten the working muscle under load. And then finally, after you've got those three things right, we're looking at intensity. Training to failure. What does that look like? Your last repetition will take 3+ seconds to contract the muscle, or you won't finish it at all. That's okay. That's how you know you're training properly. You do that for what, best part of 20 weeks. Of course you're going to end up looking similar to this. Of course you are. It's cause and effect. Like, as long as your testosterone levels are in the right position and you're responding nicely to training, of course you're going to look like this. Bearing in mind, here's another point. You look bigger when you're leaner as well. So bear that in mind. If you have a good amount of muscle, you're carrying a bit of body fat, like we've got let's say this member here. Good overall frame, like a literal human gorilla. Dieted him down. Now he looks infinitely bigger. That's always something to consider as well. So, of course you're going to end up with a physique like this. If for 20 weeks straight you're going to train like that, of course you're going to end up you probably are going to build some muscle. It wouldn't be out of the question, would it? Like, I know people say, oh, you can't build muscle in a cut, and I don't know whether you're right or wrong, whatever. But let's look at the difference in the body, because we don't care about the scale weight. We don't really care about the circumference measurements. We care about how do you look visually, because that's the whole reason you did this. And why did you do this to look good visually? So you felt good. So you could go and pursue other tasks in life from an area of confidence and good zest about you. So don't get too fixated on did the scale weight go up or down? Did I build muscle? Did I not? How do you look at the end? Do you look how you want to look or not? Because if not, then you've got more work to do. So to support this, to support your gym floor performance, I want you to keep your carbs as high as possible. How do you structure your carbs? There are two options. Well, there's two ways I want you to approach the carbs. you've got your carbs away from the workout, and these want to be slower digesting, more fibrous carbs, because fiber is going to pack out the meal plan. So you're talking oats in the morning for breakfast, you're talking potato in the evening for evening meal. Now, your carbs around the workout, it depends when you're going to train. I personally will have my pre-workout carbs about 60 minutes before I train, And with that, I can have oats because they'll have digested by the time I train. Some of you may not have that luxury. Some of you may have to eat and train within a 20-minute period. We still want to keep fiber up, so we're going to have things like fruit. You can have an apple, a banana, berries, chop it all up, nice, bang, bang, bang. You eat all that, it's going to digest within about 15 minutes. You're going to be able to train. Perfect. Carbs staying around the workout. Now, on a non-training day, you don't need those carbs, so they get removed. So that's how you to structure your carbs. I also like rice. It sits very well with me, and that's going to be something that goes in more of like a meal 2. If I'm having meal 1, meal 2 pre-workout, I'll have it in there. Why? Because it's going to sit well. It's going to digest nice and quick. Same if you're going to have a meal after the gym that's not a quickly digesting one. Rice will go down quite well with that because, again, it can digest fairly quick. It's not as quick as, like, obviously higher processed carbs, but it's like middle of the road type stuff. So you add plenty of fiber. You add oats, you add potatoes, you use veg to pack out the meal plan, you use fruit in the form of berries more than likely to pack out the meal plan. That's how you're going to utilize your carbohydrates. Carbs, cardio, food high. That's the formula for churning out a result like this. Now, just to map this out in your brain, if you were like to think, well, how do I do this on a week-by-week basis? You're going to track your scale weight. You're going to track the food you've eaten. You're going to track the sleep. You're going to track the recovery in the form of sleep. You're going to track your cardio and your steps and obviously your gym sessions. Now, after looking at 7 days worth of that data, if the scale dropped by 1 kilogram, keep it the same. You want to get the most out of the plan because the body will adapt to whatever you put it on, but there will be that buffer period where it's finding its feet and responding to it. That's the time in which you're dropping kilos of body fat. And that's what we aim for, like 1 kilogram per week. Obviously, if you're on the lower end, if you're in the 60s, it's going to be less. It's going to be like 0.7, 0.8. That's okay. If you're heavier, like plus 100 kilo, you can expect to drop like 1.5. Now, if things start to slow down, you don't see the change. Turn the dial of cardio up first, in the sense you go from 20 minutes to 30 minutes daily, then maybe to 40 minutes, before you start to pull at your food. But when you do pull at your food, because this is not a phase you do forever, and this should not be sustainable. Getting from this to this is not sustainable. Absolutely, I'm never going to sell you the dream that is. People say, so he stays on this calories for the rest of his life. Obviously not. He does this amount of cardio for the rest of his life. Obviously not. What you do to get it is not the same as what you do to keep it. And I'll just tell you now, when you get to this level, you reverse out. So you add 250 calories in the form of carbs as well, back up, repeat, back up, repeat, back up. You staircase your way back to it. You bring the cardio back down until you're holding scale weight. More like you've held condition, but your food is back at a maintenance level. What you do to keep it is like a third of what you have to do to get there. So just understand, to get there shouldn't be sustainable. You're trying to go from out of condition to very good condition. Of course, it's not sustainable. So where I'm going with this is, I keep your carbs high, but I'll then pull from fats. I'll bring the fats down. And by the way, you'll never be on zero fat. Obviously, I'm not going to let that happen anyway. But you're never going to be on zero fat, because the worst case scenario towards like the back end of the transformation, if your fats go lower and lower and lower, you're never going to be on zero, because there's trace fats in absolutely everything anyway. Not that it needs to go that low anyway, but just in case you were thinking, but what happens if I take all the fat out of my diet? A, you can't, and B, you're never going to take all of it out anyway. But why I take from the fats in the beginning first is 30 grams of dark chocolate is 180 calories. 30 grams of dark chocolate is literally nothing in your hand. Like 30 grams of peanut butter is 192 calories. Again, literally nothing in your hand. Remove those first, you get a better response from it. You take out your fibrous carbs, you're going to feel the effects of that through appetite, and you're going to struggle to stick to it anyway. The polar opposite goes for fats. Fats are more palatable, therefore they're harder to stop eating it. Go deep into a dieting phase and keep your fats in. You'll not want to stop eating that 30 grams of dark chocolate, and before you know it, you've raided the full bar and you're eating your way back into your maintenance. So that's the method I like to take. I like to do carbs high, cardio high, keep your food high for as long as possible, because it's going to come down eventually, obviously. But people's basic attack is to go like low carb and low food in the beginning, and you're just not going to look like this if you do that. So that's how we get guys from looking like this to this. If you want me to do this for you, there'll be links in the description. Book a call and see if we're right for you. Thank you for supporting the channel. And if you're not already subscribed, subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow.